Right now, as you watch this, your brain is running a quiet background program you did not start and cannot switch off. It is scanning. It is asking, beneath your awareness, a single ancient question: is anything looking at me? You are not doing this on purpose. You have been doing it your entire life. And in the next 9 minutes, I am going to show you what that program is, where it came from, and the unsettling thing that happens to your mind the moment it decides the answer is yes. Even when nothing is there. Stay with me, because the most disturbing part is not that you can feel watched. It is what researchers discovered your brain does about it, almost a full second before you consciously notice anything at all. Let us begin with something you have felt. You are in a room, absorbed in something, and a quiet pressure builds at the back of your awareness until you turn, and someone is looking at you. You did not see them, you did not hear them, and yet you knew. For centuries, people took this as proof of something mystical, a sixth sense, an invisible energy passing between two people. It is not mystical, but the truth is, in its own way, far stranger, and it starts with one of the very first experiments psychology ever ran. In 1898, a researcher named Norman Triplett noticed something about cyclists. They rode faster when another person was present than when they rode alone, not because they were racing, simply because someone was there. That small observation opened one of the oldest questions in the entire field. What changes in us, automatically, when we are in the presence of another set of eyes? And more than a century of research since has confirmed the answer. The presence of a watcher does not just change what we do, it changes what we are, moment to moment, at a level we never agreed to and rarely notice. To understand why, you have to understand what a pair of eyes means to a creature like you. For almost the entire history of human evolution, a gaze locked onto you was one of the most important pieces of information your environment could deliver. It could mean a predator had chosen you. It could mean a rival had marked you. It could mean a member of your own group was judging your standing. In every one of those cases, the individual who noticed the gaze first, who detected it a fraction of a second before the others, was the individual more likely to survive. So your brain did what evolution always does with something that valuable. It built dedicated hardware for it. You have neurons, specific cells studied in detail that appear to respond to one thing and one thing only, the direction of another creature's gaze. Your brain treats eyes as a special category of object, processed faster and more urgently than almost anything else in your visual world. This is why, in a crowd of faces, the one face turned toward you seems to jump out at you. Psychologists call it the stare in a crowd effect. You are not searching for that face. It is being delivered to you, pre-sorted, by a system that decided long ago that a gaze is too important to wait for your conscious mind to find it. And this is where the feeling you began with comes from. That prickle on the back of your neck is not a signal arriving from the person behind you. It is a signal arriving from inside you, your own threat detection system, running constantly, sometimes firing on incomplete information. Your brain would rather warn you about a watcher who is not there than stay silent about a watcher who is. A false alarm costs you a wasted glance. A missed alarm, in the world your brain was built for, could cost you everything. So the system is tuned, deliberately, towards suspicion. The feeling of being watched is, in a sense, your brain choosing to be wrong in the safer direction. Now, here is the finding I promised you, and the reason this topic matters far more in your life than it did in your ancestors. In late 2024, researchers at the University of Technology, Sydney, published a study that asked a sharper version of this question. Not can you feel watched, but what does knowing you are being watched do to your brain without your permission? They took 54 people and split them into two groups. One group completed a visual task in an ordinary room. The other group did the identical task. But first, the researchers showed them surveillance cameras being set up and a live video feed of themselves being monitored from another room. Both groups then performed the same test, but the test itself was unusual. Researchers used a technique that briefly holds an image just outside of conscious sight, then measures how long it takes that image to break through and become something you actually notice. It is a way of timing the brain's perception directly, at the threshold where seeing becomes awareness, and the result was striking. The group that knew it was being watched broke through to awareness of human faces almost a full second faster than the group that was not. In the deliberate, measured world of this kind of perception research, that is an enormous gap. And here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The participants had no idea it was happening. They did not report feeling more alert. They did not feel more anxious or more focused. The lead researcher described the effect with 3 precise words: marked, highly significant, and imperceptible. Their conscious minds noticed nothing. Underneath, their brains had shifted into a heightened state of social vigilance, scanning the world faster for other faces, for other eyes, and they could not feel the shift at all. The researchers ran one more test, and this is what makes the finding airtight. They repeated the entire experiment, but instead of faces, they used simple geometric shapes. Under surveillance, the speed advantage vanished completely. The watched brain was not simply more awake, or trying harder, or generally sharper. It had become faster at one specific thing, detecting other people, other eyes, other potential watchers. Being watched did not make the mind more alert. It made the mind more socially afraid. Sit with what that means for the world you actually live in. Triplet cyclists, and every person studied for the century after, felt watched only when another human was physically, visibly present. You do not live in that world anymore. You live under doorbell cameras and CCTV behind a laptop lens beside a phone that listens for its name. You perform much of your life for online audiences who are not in the room and may not even be looking. The watcher for you has become permanent, invisible, and impossible to verify. And your brain, running that same ancient program, the one that cannot tell the difference between a real gaze and a possible one, responds to all of it. It does not get to rest because the gaze never definitively leaves. This is the quiet cost. Heightened vigilance is metabolically expensive and psychologically heavy. Researchers note that this same hypersensitivity to being looked at is a core feature of social anxiety and, in more extreme forms, of paranoia. That does not mean surveillance gives you a disorder. It means the modern world is gently, constantly pressing on a part of the mind that was only ever built for brief, occasional, verifiable use, and pressing on it without pause. But I want to be fair to the whole picture because the gaze is not only a threat. The very same machinery has another side. A watching presence can steady us. A child plays more freely knowing a parent's eyes are nearby. We become, in measurable studies, more honest and more generous when we feel observed. Even a simple picture of eyes on a wall makes people more cooperative. The watcher can be a guardian as easily as a predator. The eye that threatens is also the eye that protects. Which one your brain perceives depends almost entirely on a single question. Who do you believe is watching and why? And that question is the thing you can actually hold. Here is what the science leaves you with. Not a rule, but an understanding. The feeling of being watched is not a flaw in you, and it is not a message from outside you. It is one of the oldest and most sophisticated tools your mind owns, a piece of survival equipment that kept your ancestors alive long enough to become you. It is not broken. It is, if anything, working too well in an environment that now never switches it off. You cannot delete the program. You would not want to. It is part of how you read love and warning and belonging in another person's eyes. But you can know it is running. You can recognize that the unease you sometimes feel in an empty room is not a ghost and not a prophecy. It is an ancient sentinel doing its job, sometimes on no evidence at all. And in the moment you recognize that, something quietly shifts. The feeling stops being something happening to you and becomes something you can simply notice, name, and let pass. The sentinel keeps watching, but you are no longer startled by your own guard. So I want to ask you, sincerely, when was the last time you felt watched with no one there? And now that you know what that feeling actually is, does it change how it sits with you? Tell me in the comments. Someone reading them tonight has felt that exact prickle and quietly wondered if something was wrong with them. Your words might be the thing that tells them nothing is. If this gave you a new way to understand your own mind, subscribe to Grit Harbor, where every week we take one invisible force shaping human life and make it visible. And remember, no one here has to weather the storm alone. Thank you for staying with us.